when you hear people talking about 1666B, guys, I want you to just read more into it. Read more into 1666B, because 1666B works if the creditor fails to meet the requirements per son 1637B. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. So 1666B works. I'm going to let you guys know 1666B works, but you must find that they are not in compliance with what is required under 1637B. That's the ammunition. 1637B, 1666B works only if they fail to give you the requirements under 1637B. Right? You said dispute directly with the creditors, right? Absolutely. So I want you guys to think for a second. Who puts or who provides the information about your account to the consumer reporting agencies? Just, I want you guys to think for a minute. Who provides the consumer reporting agencies with your information? I want you guys to think about it. Who provides the consumer reporting agencies with your information? So I see the word data furnisher. Clyde, Teresa, you are correct. Another name for creditors, they are also called data furnishers. So for those of you who didn't know, data furnishers, text the word, data furnishers are also called creditors. So text the word summit. Guys, I'm just going to cut for a quick commercial break. We are putting on the credit summit. The Consumer Law Secrets team and I, we are putting on the credit summit. It is the first summit of its kind. There is none. The word summit. Let me just write this out, and then I'm going to break down and tell you some more stuff. 917-993. Guys, you can take down my number too. 917-993-5238. Text the word summit to 917-993-5238 to get your tickets for the credit summit. All right. So let me give y'all some more insight. I took your late payment letters and sent them directly to the creditors. However, they all came back and said what they reported was accurate. So this is where now you go more into it. Because first of all, we never asked them if anything was accurate. So more than melanin, you brought up a very good question at a very good time. We didn't ask about if the information reported was accurate. We are specifically speaking on transactions and experiences. So 15 USC 1681A. So when we go to 15 USC 1681A, we're going to scroll down to number 2. So more than melanin. Let me know if you're able to join me on the live. I want to have a conversation with you. I want to show you some perspective. So if you're able to join me on live, more than melanin, I would love to have you on. When you send out a dispute letter, right? When you send out a dispute letter, it doesn't mean that you're going to obey it right away. Right. You have to know what you're enforcing, right? So the late payment letter is built on this section. 15 USC 1681A, number 2A1, right? So I want you to write that down. I'm going to go into it now, but I want you to have it for your reference. Okay. So this is what Congress is saying. Who makes the law, creditors or Congress? Congress. All right. So does what a creditor say overrides what Congress written in their laws? Absolutely not. All right. Cool. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, it says this. Except exclusions. What does exclusion mean? Tell me, what do you think the word exclusion means?
Not included.
Not included, right? So for everybody that's listening, is it a fair assessment to say that the word exclusion means not included? Can we all agree that that's what it means?
Correct.
All right, cool. So Congress says it. This is not Daraine saying this. This is Congress saying this. Congress says, except as provided in paragraph 3. The term consumer report. What does your consumer report mean? Daraine, I am glad you asked. So let me tell you. The word consumer report means this. In general, the term consumer report means any written, oral, or other communication of any information by a consumer reporting agency bearing on a consumer's credit worthiness, credit standing, credit capacity, character, general reputation, personal characteristics, or mode of living which is used or expected to be used or collected in whole or in part for the purpose of serving as a factor in establishing the consumer's eligibility for a credit or insurance to be used primarily for personal, family, or household purposes, b employment, or c any other purpose authorized under section 1681B of this title. Now, in the definition of the consumer report, Queen, did you hear Congress said anything about a FICO score or a Vantage score?
No.
It's not included, right? Okay.
Correct.
Where is late payment a factor? Late payment is a factor on the factors of FICO.
Okay.
Factors of FICO are not your consumer report. Did Congress say anything at all in the definition about a FICO algorithm or a FICO score?
No.
It did not say it, right? So, by definition, it is clear to say that your FICO score or your FICO algorithm or whatever FICO or Vantage is not included in the definition of what your consumer report is. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, bet. So now we go back to 15 USC 1681A, and then we go down to number 2. Number 2 says exclusions, right? And we all know exclusion mean does not include, it's not a part of, except as provided in paragraph 3. The term consumer report does not include information containing information solely as to transactions. So I'm going to stop here at transactions. Can you tell me what a transaction is? And there's no right or wrong answer. This is not a trick question. I am genuinely asking you.
The only definition that I personally know is the one that you gave from the master class, which is the transaction between the person and the creditor themselves.
All right. So I don't want it from my definition. Let's talk about a credit card statement, right?
Okay.
So when you go to an outlet or to different vendors, what do you do when you swipe the card? You make a transaction, right?
Correct.
Where does that transaction history show up?
In your billing statement.
In your billing statement. And then know that information there, that is a transactional history, they're reported, correct?
Correct.
All right. So if Congress says a consumer's transactions between the consumer, you, and the person, corporation, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, whoever making the report is not included in your consumer report, does a late payment exist? By definition.
No.
Because we've allowed them to use FICO's algorithm as the scoring model that is used, people assume that a factor of FICO constitutes your consumer report. It does not.
Okay.
So you now have to enforce this. And when you enforce this and they don't comply with this, this is where now you can take other actions, like you can go arbitration, you can sue. This gives you grounds for violation because what? It says, except as provided in paragraph 3, your consumer report, not mine, your consumer report. The term consumer report does not include report containing information solely as to transaction. Then what is a payment history? Isn't that information solely on just transactions that you have made using that line of credit between you, the consumer, and that creditor?
Correct. Does that mean that technically when they respond that the transactions that they've investigated are accurate, that they're not being
It's
honest?
total BS because this section of the law does not speak on accuracy. It speaks on your transactions are not included in your consumer report. So if you accept a statement stating that what we are reporting is accurate, I never asked you about accuracy.
Right.
This section specifically speaks on transactions and experiences between the consumer is not included on the consumer report. I don't care what you think. What you think is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. So if you are reporting that accurate, prove to me without a shadow of a doubt that you can report a transaction history on my credit. Prove it.
Okay.
So now if they're going to report it accurate, let's ask for prove it. Prove that what you are reporting is accurate, because I can prove that you are reporting transactions that are not included. You have to prove it.